guys, how's it going? I'm also a little sick today, so just bear with me, alright? This season is pretty stacked for anime. We got Jujutsu Kaisen, Oshinoko, Frieren, Fire Force, and so many new anime or even continuation of these previous anime which have been super hype and they've been bangers and everyone's talking about them. But I feel like there's one anime down in the sea of animes that's not getting enough recognition as it should be. It feels almost like an underrated gem which nobody's watching or even talking about. And that anime is called The Darwin Incident. Not the Darwin's Game.
What's in the box?
The Darwin Incident. This is like one of the shows. I also know that there's another show, the super sad one that everyone is talking about as the underrated gem. But I feel like this anime is not getting enough hype around it. I mean, I did see that a few people, the only videos I even saw about the anime was just reaction videos, and nobody really, going and even recommending the show. It's all just reaction videos. So I thought I'll just make a video and see, if I could get even one person into this anime. The show is basically about a chimp and a human hybrid called Charlie.
We are Charlie Kirk!
And he is basically what you would call a human Z in the show. So it's a specific term that they've made up just to call him, right? Because he is the only one who exists in the whole world who is both a chimp and a human hybrid. And the whole show makes it pretty clear that he is neither a human being nor is he a chimp, but he is smarter than a human being and stronger and more faster than a chimp. So he doesn't fit in any of the categories, and that's one of the main things that the show also deals with. What is he? Is he a human being? Is he just a thing? Or will he ever be a human being even though he's half human? That's one of the bigger questions that the show tries to deal with and tries to answer what actually makes a human being. Is it just being born a human, or being able to talk, or just having sentience? Is that what makes a human being, or is it just what you feel on the inside, I'm gonna be spoiling the first 5 minutes of the first episode, so if you're somebody who wanted to go in completely blind, didn't want any spoilers, didn't want to know anything that's gonna happen in the show, here's your warning, right? The first episode starts off with ALA, the Animal Liberation Alliance, who are a bunch of vegan terrorists, basically, who attack these animal centers and free the animals. Now I know this isn't based on real life because this is what vegans are doing in real life.
Eat your vegetables!
Right, but back to the show, we know, we see they free a bunch of animals, and there's one chimp on the ground. She's bleeding out, she's about to have a miscarriage, and then they save her, they take her to a doctor, they perform a C-section on her, and then baby Charlie is born. Baby Charlie is basically the human Z of this world, who is a mixture of both human and chimp DNA, I think. So that's who is born. And there's a lot of other things that happens in the first episode. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want to spoil the show. But I will warn you now, the first episode is kind of slow. So if you're trying to get into it, give it the 3-episode rule. Don't just judge it on the first episode. The first episode will be kind of slow. They're just getting into the things of it. And the animation is also all over the place. It's good sometimes, it's CG sometimes. But if you're looking for a good story, this is where you'll find it. But just know it's a slow anime, so it's not gonna have a ton of fights to keep your interest or immediate plot twists or anything like that. You have to stick with the anime and just hope it gets better, which it definitely does. Just trust me on that, right? I mean, one of the weird parts about this anime is that it's set in America, right? Even though it was written by a Japanese person, it's set in America, and you get to see him in American high schools. You get to see him doing American things. You get to see a sheriff and not a typical police officer. So you see a lot of Americanized things in the show, and also it's one of those shows where you have to keep watching it, and it gets better over time. It takes its time, it slowly picks up, but once it actually picks up, all the gears turn really well, everything makes sense, all the characters are interesting, and everything feels set up from the start. And the best part about it, because it's set in America, out of all the countries, you get to see a lot of your American bullies, you get to see the jocks, you get to see the nerdy kids, and you also get to see the infamous red pill.
No movies!
I'm not joking. That's one of the arc. They have a whole arc called the Red Pill arc, and it's very up to date with what's going on. It feels like a modern anime which is dealing with modern problems about kids and red pill. But even with all that, I don't think it really tries to push veganism on you. One of the even though the main plot of the show is don't harm animals, they also deserve the same rights as humans do. But veganism is also in the background. That if that's something that you want to do, you can do it. I read online that the author is also vegan. Like even in the show, one of the characters point blank just asks, "Should I just go vegan?" And the other person who's actually vegan just gives you like an average, well-balanced, thought-out answer instead of just crashing out, right? They actually give you a good answer, which is crazy because now everything's okay, but like I remember a few years ago, if you even mentioned you were vegan, usually people would think that you're just crazy, and we saw them as like crazy people who would do anything to get their way and just hated everybody who ate meat, and they'd even lobby against just trying to get laws passed so we don't eat meat anymore. But this show actually gives you a character who has like a well-balanced, thought-out answer instead of just saying whatever comes to his mouth and just hating on the meat eaters in the show, just going crazy. But he actually is an actual adult. Like he actually answers the question as well as he could. And I'm pretty sure the show is not even like anti-vegan propaganda. Of course, the main villains of the show are the ALA, the Animal Liberation Alliance, and they're fighting. They're doing a bunch of things. They're doing all the terrorist activities to get people to notice what's going on, and also just stop animal cruelty. That's what they believe in, right? So they are vegans who've just gone crazy and just started doing terrorist activities. But as the show mentions, they're extremists, and pretty much any group that you take will always have extremists. They will always have people in the fringe ends of the corner who will always cause trouble for the group that's actually trying to be, trying to make those changes, trying to work it out in a good way. But then you'll always have extremists who believe that they are above everybody and everybody should listen to them. And also, the rules just only don't apply to them, but they apply to everybody. So, you know what I mean? So, you no matter what the social setting is, you're always gonna have extremists. And in this case, the villains, the ALA, are the extremists of this world, right? They are the vegans who've gone crazy and they've started. Even when a kid dies, right? They don't have compassion for that. What kind of vegan or like save all life organization doesn't have any kind of sympathy when an actual kid is dead because of their actions, right? So I'm sure there's a lot more that will be revealed about ALA, the Animal Liberation Alliance. And I can't wait to see where the show goes, right? I want to watch it weekly. I want to see where it goes. And I think once the show is done, I also want to read the manga and just know how the story ends, because this is like a really interesting show. It's basically like, you guys remember Planet of the Apes? It's basically that story, but with just a different twist on that. That's all. Like, wasn't he also supposed to be like super smart? But then, yeah, he was also just a direct chimp. He wasn't like a half-breed. But he was also like one of the first people to talk. Same with this guy. And he was also, he becomes the leader of the world, but I don't think this guy does that. But you know what I mean? I don't know, he might in the manga, I don't know. But I'm interested to know what's gonna happen in the manga, and that's usually, I never read mangas. I only read them unless they're like, unless the show got me really interested. I think one of the shows that I remember where I immediately went to the manga was The Promised Neverland, and the second season for that was you know how it was. So yeah, if you're still watching this video, I only like two kinds of anime. One is the action shonen, and second would be psychological animes. Maybe because I'm autistic, I don't know. But I'm gonna be spoiling. I want to go in a bit more depth, so I'm gonna be spoiling a bit of the 7th, or I'm thinking the 6th episode. So if you're still watching, again, a spoiler warning. So in the 6th episode, the sheriff of this town catches, he brings in Charlie as a suspect for a murder, right? But then he's also not a suspect because Charlie is a new species overall. He's not charged or even given rights as a criminal. Much rather, he's treated as an evidence. Like he's treated as evidence for this case. So he doesn't have a right to a lawyer. He doesn't have a right to say no. He doesn't have a right to like avoid questioning. He cannot plead the fifth. So he's just basically, you know, just a guy, just almost like a thing, right? So that's one of the main themes of the show. What does it mean to be human? Are humans morally superior because we have sentience? Or is sentience the only thing that avoids you from eating something? Why are we allowed to eat pretty much any animal on the planet but except for humans? Is cannibalism is considered one of the worst things any human can do because you're eating your own kind. But I mean, early humans did that, right? So why is it so bad now? And he even asks later in the show that why can you only eat animals and why can you not eat, you know, any other human? Because I mean, end of the day, we're all animals, right? So why is it so much different to eat an animal rather than a human being? I mean, of course, he doesn't go around eating human beings. At least I hope he doesn't in the next few episodes because he's already in like pretty deep shit with the sheriff and everything. But yeah, so that's what the show is about. The show is a pretty slow show. It tells you what you need to know. It gives you information very slowly. It also has really interesting characters and really likable characters. I think her name is Lucy and Julie and his dad. Like everybody is pretty nice, and he's also like not a weakling. He's also like a strong monkey, right? I mean, chimps are able to tear off human faces, so he's pretty strong. And whenever the push comes to shove, he always like fights them and he wins. So it's not a typical show. It's not a typical sad drama, or it's not a typical action show. But I think it has so much more to offer, and even if I could get one more person to watch this show out of everybody who's watching, I think I'd have done my job. If you are looking for it though, I think I'm pretty sure it's on Amazon Prime. And yeah, that's where you could watch it. That's where you could watch it legally, but illegally, I mean, we all know how to watch it illegally. But if you're still watching, please subscribe. And yeah, I'm sick, so the video is not as long, and I also just didn't want to miss an upload. So yeah, if you see the video, give it a like, and maybe subscribe. And yeah, that every small bit helps out a lot, guys. I'm still at 25 subscribers, trying to aim to hit at least 50 by the end of like 2 months. So let's see how it goes. Anyways, guys, see you all. Have a great day. Bye-bye.